Okay, we're out at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, looking at doing some siding work. Really interesting layout, a lot different than our normal kind of rectangle house. It has a really cool layout to it, a lot of personality, so it's going to be a fun project. Basically what we have is a 12-inch fascia. All we're doing for the sake of our scope of work is we're repairing two areas on the fascia, first of which is right here on this left front corner, and then we'll take a look at a right front corner that we're going to repair too. So this we'll actually use cedar here, and then we're just going to paint all the fascia all the way around. We're not doing a fascia overlay. There's a lot of drip edge and tile concerns, and really in most cases it's all in good shape. So aside from two areas on the fascia, everything else is just going to be painted fascia. We're not going to do any R&R on these tiles, the wraparound fascia tiles. We're just going to paint up and under them. So that's going to be how we'll accomplish that. This little kind of apron up here will all become Hardie plank. We are doing a garage door wrap. We got some rot down in these areas on the corners at the feet. So wrapping the garage door frame will be a great thing here, just to really get a maintenance-free exterior. Up top on the clear story, we have some siding here. We're going to be using Cedar Mill Select. We're going to be using Select Sierra Vertical with the 8-inch. So that's the board we'll be using for all the side wall areas. And we are also looking at soffit. So wherever we have soffit, wherever we have a flat soffit, we're going to install the Hardie vented. Wherever we have any kind of, which isn't much, but wherever we have any kind of sloped soffit, we'll install a non-vented soffit, which will be the same Hardie material as the siding in the cedar mill. So up here, this area, we're going to tear off this completely because of the warping and things like that. We're going to tear this off. There's a lot of other places, I'd say 99% of the rest of the house, we're going to use the existing as substrate. This little trim piece here, this little 1x, it's a darker brown color, that's coming off. And we're going to clean that up a lot by just running the vertical sheets right down to the tiles, leaving our 1.25 to 2 inch exposure. But we'll clean that up and get rid of that trim board that was just put on there to cover up rot anyways. Again, all fascia will be painted, not removing tiles. No tile R&R. Now on the front on these clear story windows, 6 of them, all of that will be refaced and retrimmed in Hardie plank. We'll clean it up a bunch, give it a really nice clean look. This is some of our soffit here, you can see. So this will all become Hardie continuous vent soffit system. Now under the porch, we got about half square of porch ceiling. Again, we don't really have any start-stop point, so all this porch ceiling will become Hardie plank as well. It's going to look beautiful. The door here, we will rewrap the side light and the front door are both just standard 1x4 trim, so no brick molds, so we can rewrap those in Hardie and give the finished look to it. I'm assuming too the front door is going to need a coat of paint. We'll do that basically just as a courtesy to make sure that everything looks continuous and there's continuity on the front of the house. More fascia here. Wherever we do have gutters, we're not going to take the gutters down. The gutters are actually, it looks like, from what I can tell, basically integrated into the roof deck. They go up and under the tiles. So we are not messing with gutters. We'll paint the gutters to match the fascia color, but we will not R&R gutters. And again, here just fascia. A lot of places we have fascia, but no soffit. So again, it's very non-typical from what we see. It took a little extra time to measure, but we did a careful job so we can really understand what scope of work we're dealing with here. Again, on this upper gable, this gable's in good shape. We can use this as an overlay. Again, fascia, paint, no soffit. All corner trim. You can see this trim is pretty weathered right here. That butts up to the clear story windows. So that trim again right here will all become Hardie plank. We got this is our corner here that we have some rot. So we'll scab in some cedar here on this corner to get rid of this, caulk it, seal it really nicely, and then just continue on with our painting. Coming around here to the right side of the home. This area, we got a bunch of windows back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 windows and a patio door. So this area, again, perfect candidate for an overlay system here. All windows and doors will be wrapped in Hardie. We also have these, they're about 13, one's about 11.5 feet tall beams, 6-inch beams, 6 by 6. So all these beams, we're going to reface those in Hardie, and it's going to look amazing when it's done. It'll have the same grain texture as the siding, and it'll really come out nice. So these beams will all be wrapped in Hardie plank. We do have some non-vented soffit here on the gable run, and that will all become Hardie plank as well. Also underneath here, we have some flat soffit. Again, Hardie plank. Lights, everything like that. This conduit, we spoke about this, Mr. Smith and I did, and he's going to basically just remove this, not conduit, but this piping for the faucet, and just move the hose bib right over to here. So we got a GFI and a hose bib where we can put J boxes on and clean it up and make it look really nice compared to the exterior pipe running on the wall. We talked about this, but anywhere we have siding running down to the foundation, we're going to C-channel flash that to make sure we don't have any kind of water infiltration down the road. So all of that area, especially on this back area where it dies right down into the foundation line, and then ultimately down here it dies right down to the ground level. So we want to make sure that's all C-channel flashed and all in great shape, so we don't have any maintenance, any repair work, anything that we're going to have to do down the road. So on the back here, again, great candidate with the exception of one area for doing an overlay. We do have the soffit, we do have fascia with gutters. Again, no gutter R&R, just painting the fascia. This conduit for the light here will be kept outside the wall paneling, and then will just be painted accordingly. Again, all corner trim like we see here, all window trim, door trim, will all become Hardie plank. And back here, there's about a 10-foot wall. It's about 9.5 actually. Right here, this area, it's not soft, but we definitely want to, just because you can tell it's gotten some good water exposure, we're going to cut that out and then resheath it before we do our Tyvek. Back here, we're going to cut a skirt out, basically just to address some of the rot that you can see visibly. Again, we got a beam here that was the 1x4 that was put on just to cover up rot. So we're going to tear that out, inspect the base plate, inspect the framing, make sure nothing's going on that would cause any problems down the road. And then we'll go on with our resheathing of OSB, Tyvek, and then all of our siding. A couple soffit issues. We do have some water here. Apparently the roof was redecked and flashed, and you can tell the flashing's really new, done within the last couple years. So hopefully these water problems will be alleviated. We did talk about watching that just to make sure the new soffit isn't going to be damaged. But we have one soffit issue here. We have a squirrel chewing some holes right here that you can see, and then over here, same idea. We got the squirrel family making some mess of the soffit. So that will all be corrected, and once the Hardie's in there, squirrels, woodpeckers, raccoons, nobody's going to get in there. So again, that's pretty much what we're looking at here. Just cutting out a skirt to make sure we have no rot on the base plate. Then all trim comes off, and then we're going to do our Tyvek and our trim and our siding from there. Patio door will be wrapped in a 1x4. Mr. Smith and I spoke about this, but obviously with the cross cuts on the trim, we're going to do that differently, and instead our vertical beams will run this way. Horizontal trim will stop here, and that will basically just add to the longevity and make sure that we don't have any kind of rotting situations. All the trim is that way, with the bottom horizontal board coming across, same as the top. So we'll correct that and make it the right way. Back here we have a glass block wall. Nothing there, just going to retrim that just as we would a normal window, and then we got a small amount of siding here. Now this is tricky here. This, you can see this fascia, this gable run. This extends up probably about another 18 feet, and I had to climb up there to take a look at it. And it extends up about another 18 feet, and then basically just like this board here, we have soffit that comes over about 10 feet, and then it continues on to the front gable and dies down into the front of the house gable. So that's all been accounted for, just so there's no surprises. We'll make sure that that gets addressed as part of our scope of work. But this fascia, it does not die down right in beyond the chimney. It continues about another 12 feet, comes over parallel to this fascia, and then dies down back into the front of the house. So something to, again, it's pretty untypical as far as just the dimension and character of the house. So we'll make sure that everything gets addressed appropriately. And that's pretty much it. We have a color scheme through an HOA that's got to be approved, so we'll be somewhat limited on colors. But other than that, pretty straightforward. It's going to be an exciting project, and definitely a huge potential to make the exterior maintenance-free and repair-free down the road. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we really appreciate you having us over, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.